So today we're going to be talking about this OTF. This is the Microtech Ultratech. Okay, very specifically the model 121-1CL. Okay, so this is a dual action out the front. That's what OTF stands for. So basically, spring system that shoots it out, locks it in place, and you can retract it. Okay, so very cool, very fun, very expensive, high quality knife. The specific one having the clear top, that's what the CL stands for, is a little bit more like collectible. It is a little bit more expensive. This one, as I expected, is sold out. By the time I got to use this enough to do a review for you guys, because I basically use this for opening all the Christmas letters as well as a couple boxes, a little bit of packaging stuff. Never EDC this because unfortunately in Pennsylvania, even though I can carry multiple guns on me, multiple knives, I cannot legally carry an automatic knife, which I know is dumb, but I could not EDC this. So I can't talk to how it EDC'd. I can only talk to basic cutting. This one does sport a M390 blade. It performed very nicely. Cleaned it up a little bit before the video, just had some paper stuff on it, no glue. Because this is a little bit more collectible, I didn't go real hard with using this one. But I do have some opinions on it, and we're going to talk about them right now. So first off, if you've never seen I never had a Microtech, here's the box that came with this particular one. See in the end, shows you the model. There's a ton of Ultratechs out there. A lot of different varieties, blade styles, coloration, stuff like that. You see, caution sharp edge. There's the person who inspected it, which to me looks like 7L. I don't think there's anyone named 7L. So I'm sure Microtech would know who that is. Okay, nice foam container here, came in a bag. Here's paperwork you get. Product manual, knife care, warranty, avoid abuse. Okay, generic paperwork is obviously there's a halo there in the middle, which we do not get here. Operation instructions. So there you go. All right, so packaging is okay, not bad for the price. I'm surprised it is nice packaging. A lot of times, the more expensive knives you get, the crappier the packaging is. Sometimes you get a plastic bag or a plain cardboard box, but pretty cool. Microtechs are very collectible. You can see on the pocket clip here, the Microtech logo. Let me let that focus for a second. Microtech logo. The born date, which is 10/2017. Of course, their Eagle Claw logo. All right, serial number. This particular model, it's the same dimensions as the original Ultratech, I believe, which, by the way, came out in 1999. If you've never seen this one, it's been around quite a long time now. But they did, I believe, change the design of the actuation button, okay, or switch, I guess you call it. It's not a button because you're not pushing anything. You're sliding this forward and back, all right, open and close the knives, as well as there is a glass breaker on here with a ball bearing in there. It's pressed in there. What's pretty cool about this clip is it obviously comes up and it flares out in the end here, which gives you your lanyard hole. All right, so you can pop a lanyard on here if you want, although I don't think I've ever seen anyone with an Ultratech with a lanyard on it. But if I were to carry this one, it does have a pretty heavy actuation, so in order for this to shoot the blade out, you have to push that with a pretty good amount of force. I don't know the exact poundage of force there, but I would say if this was in the pocket, and you reach down in your pocket or something and you bumped into that, you're not going to easily, pop the blade out and shoot it into your leg or anything. I've talked about this multiple times in the past, but there's enough spring tension to shoot that blade out very fast. I mean, you can see it's fast, but if you were to put something in front of here and, push the blade out, it's not going to just shoot through. All right, there's only a limited amount of force. It's the force of the spring that's in here. Some people have this false expectation that, yeah, if I went like this and opened it, it would just go through my hand. It'd be poking out the other side, blood gushing everywhere. No, because it's an extremely sharp knife and very pointy, if I were to do this, it would cut in probably, if I had to guess, maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/4 of an inch. I'd be bleeding, but it would never go through my hand or anything. All right, I've done videos in the past with Microtechs, and it doesn't matter what brand it is. Even the best, the OTFs, they're not going to go through a phone book or anything ridiculous like that. It'll be stopped by, not a whole lot of medium there. So, just to get that out of the way. But once it's open and locked, you could stab this through things. It does have enough force in the lock position to go through a hand or whatever you happen to stab it with, okay? But just want to make that a point for people who don't understand this particular design. So let's take a close-up look at this blade here. You can see it is dual tone. All right, black for all of the grinds, and the flats are satin. All right, Microtech logo on there, USA made, Ultratech SE, and M390 down in the bottom for our blade steel. The back is sterile, nothing on there. And this exact one in the clear top came in also a spear point option that was double edged. Now double edge, of course, is illegal in some places because of the fact I can't actually carry this around in Pennsylvania where I currently live. It wouldn't have made much of a difference to get a double edge because I can own anything I want. There's no limitations on what knives you can own, but no, I can't actually carry out an automatic knife. So it wouldn't have made a difference if it was double edged or not in my particular situation. But in some places, you can have an automatic, but you can't have a double edged blade. So you have to consider those types of things when you're picking a knife that you want to carry and use. So yeah, M390, it performed very nicely. Again, limited cutting on this, didn't go super crazy hard cutting. Did cut every envelope, so I had 50 envelopes for the Christmas cards, plus just a little bit of extra cutting and some cardboard. The coating held up very nicely through that. Did not start rubbing off or anything, but I wouldn't expect it to with that little use on it. I mean, I would hope it would take a little bit more than that to start rubbing that black off. Attention to detail here though, the biggest thing for me is the actual switch on this has the step up pattern. All right, because you want grip obviously pushing forward as well as pulling back. Okay, because once you push it forward, it stays in that forward position, and then you pull back. It facilitates an amazing grip. This step pattern here, it really grabs the skin of your thumb. All right, so when you go to push this, you're not going to slip off. All right, it's almost impossible. It's extremely aggressive, although it's not uncomfortable. You can do this all day long. You're not going to have, a sore thumb or anything like that. What's interesting though, of course, this being a clear top, is you could see the mechanisms inside and how this works. Now, you get a kind of an idea of how this works. If you've never seen one taken apart, you might not know exactly what's going on because although it's clear, it's a little opaque, I guess. It's not 100% crystal clear, but you can still see things moving around essentially. Okay, so with a dual action, there's two different springs. Once it gets to a certain point, you have that spring tension built up and it releases it, and that's what drags the blade all the way out. Okay, and then the opposite direction, so the design is mimicked in both directions. Same thing for pulling in. Tension is built up. When it finally releases, the blade shoots in. All right, so I'll give you a couple shots of this. But again, if you don't understand the workings inside, you're just gonna see metal moving, but you're not really gonna know what's going on. You'd have to watch another video of one of these taken apart to grasp what's actually happening here. But anyway, one cool thing for collectability, but not for usability, is of course this does also have, I call them the cat treats, but it is the triangular, screw heads. This is a Microtech design for all their hardware. I don't know the official name for that. Like I said, it just reminds me of little cat treats, but it is their proprietary screw heads. You can get, the driver for that online. It is kind of expensive. Some people get good sources for them. It's a little bit cheaper, but if you're going to be, collecting Microtechs and you want to actually use them and take them apart yourself, which I'm not 100% sure on this. I don't know if it voids warranty. I know Microtech puts stuff like this on here because they want you to send the knives back. If there's a problem, they don't want you taking it apart and trying to fix it yourself. They want you to send it to them and they'll take care of it. But they do sell the bits. If you do want to tinker with your own knives, you can certainly do so. For most people, I would probably think that they would consider that a con, but it's a con because you can't just use regular tools to take this apart. You have to get that bit. But people collect the bits just like to collect the knives. And like I said, if you're huge into Microtechs, it's a worthwhile investment just to have them. But yeah, pretty interesting. This particular one, some dimensions, 3.3 inches on the blade. All right. The handle is 5 inches long. It has an anodized aluminum back with, again, that clear top. It's like an acrylic. All right. And the overall length is 8.3 inches. And it is fairly light at only 3.2 ounces. All right, so it doesn't feel very heavy at all. If you were in an area that you can legally carry one of these, it'd be very easy to carry in the pocket. Nice, long, wide pocket clip. It would be a pretty much deep concealed carry. You'd probably just see about that sticking out. And it wouldn't scream knife. It would, doesn't necessarily look like a knife to a lot of people. But yeah, pretty simple It's a very easy design as far as, you know, ergonomics. There's not a whole lot going on here because there's not a bunch of curves and stuff. It's not overly comfortable. You know, it doesn't melt in the hand or anything, but being somewhat of a stick, anyone can grab this and use it just the same. When you start getting a lot of contours in knife designs, they become either super comfortable or super uncomfortable, depending on your hand size and where your fingers land. This, like I said, anyone can grab this and use it just the same. You can have huge hands. You can give this to a child and they can do it just the same as you can. So it's a very simple, you know, design as far as ergonomics go. But yeah, this particular model, it's sold out now. This one came from Blade Ops. But they were selling it for $357. The Ultratech design, like if you like this design, but you don't necessarily want one of these super collectible versions of it, you can get a base model for about $225. I think is the cheapest these sell for. All right, and they go all the way up to $1,000, you know, for a crazy limited edition one. But on average, expect to pay about $240 to $250 for an Ultratech. All right, and again, the more collectible ones get a little bit more expensive. But it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. Pretty much any OTF, from a $40 fake lightning, you know, whatever, because that's a Microtech copy if you're not familiar with that, the lightning OTFs, but they're just fun. You know, automatic knives are always fun. But if you like the cheap ones and you want to get into something you can actually use, Microtech's where it's at. I've always been a fan of Microtech. Yes, they're expensive, but I do think they're worth it. I do think that they are on top, at least the top 3 companies that make the best automatic knives in the world. I've always been a fan. I used to collect them back in the day. I had a couple $1,000s. I'm talking when I was like 14 or 15, and I had a couple $1,000s worth of Kershaws, and I sold all of them just to buy Microtechs. I mean, I talked about this before, I had like every model. I wish I took more pictures back then, I can show you, but I had every Ken Onion model, every, you know, variant of all those different knives, all different Kershaw stuff. I was a huge fanboy as a teenager because they were affordable and they came out with so many different varieties of models and spin-offs and stuff. And at some point I sold them all just to buy, I think it was like 5 Microtechs. I bought a Kestrel, a dual action LCC, a Greg Lightfoot design. God, this takes me back. I had a Halo. I'm trying to think what else I had. I don't even remember. I had a couple more, maybe a SOCOM. I never had the UDT. That's one knife that I always wanted to check out. But anyway, long story short, I had a bunch of Microtechs at some point. I never used any of them. They were collector's pieces to me. And then eventually I traded, I think, 2 of them for more knives, cheaper knives, and sold the rest and started buying knives I can use because I was afraid to use them because they were collectible. But, you know, if you got the coin to drop on something like this, like I said, you don't have to get a collectible version if you happen to like the clear thing or if you happen to like a different coloration. Yeah, maybe you're going to pay a little extra for it. But if you just want to get in to try the design, $225 is where they start. So not cheap by any means, but I definitely think they are high quality cutlery and worth the money. At least the base models. Once you start getting higher, I mean, in this particular case, is it worth an extra $100 just to get the clear top? For most people, no, it's not. From a, you know, usable standpoint. For a collector standpoint, yes, of course, people are going to pay extra for those limited edition versions. All right, so it is what it is. But I'm here to tell you that it is very comfortable, very easy to use. My only gripe with this, and I do not remember, maybe I can watch my old video, but I did another Microtech OTF. I don't know offhand if it was an Ultratech. I don't remember, but the one thing I noticed when I first started playing with this is that there is just the tiniest bit of play in the button. And I don't know offhand if that's a normal thing because it's been such a long time since I've had one. But it doesn't bother me like a lot. But again, because everything else is pretty much perfect with this knife, it's like, why is there a tiny bit of slop in there? I don't know. Even if it was just a rubber coat on the outside so I didn't hear it. It's just like I said, because I'm wiggling this around, you can hear that. It's just something you wouldn't expect on an expensive knife, but it could be totally normal. Like I said, it's been a while since I've had one of these, so I just don't recall offhand. Of course, you guys can tell me down in the description if yours has it as well. Once it's open, same thing. Just the tiniest bit. It's barely moving, but because it's metal on metal, you can hear it. But when you shake the knife, you don't hear anything. All right, so it's not like it's rattling in your pocket or anything. It's just when you go to touch it, you know. But no one's really going like this with a knife. It's just, I don't know. When you get into higher end knives, these little things, which normally people wouldn't care about. If this is a $20 knife, you're like, yeah, who cares? But, you know, $357, then you start really nitpicking at things. And that's why I say it's just a tiny little gripe. But most people, I would say 9 out of 10 people buying a clear top Ultratech, they don't care. They're not using the thing. They're looking at it, they're playing with it, and then they're putting it back in the box, dusting it off, taking off their white gloves, and putting it back in their safe with all the other expensive collectible knives. So anyway, that is it. That's my opinions on this particular knife. Let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know if you have a clear top. If you do, what version, what you think of yours. And ultimately, just Ultratechs in general, at least the newer ones, let me know if there's a little bit of play in your button. It's just a hair. I don't even know if you guys can see that moving. I guess if I hold this still, you can see it moving. Just enough to make noise. But anyway, that's it. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I will see you soon. Take care.